Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Unplugged Woodworking podcast. So if you're watching this on YouTube or all that, if you listen to this on YouTube, you're going to actually be watching it because I am trying a new format out. So I am recording this visually. Obviously I will still be extracting the audio and putting that out as I normally do on Spotify and Google podcasts and whatnot. So I'd really appreciate it if people would leave a comment, let us know what you think of the new formats. Let us, if you're listening to this on say Spotify, let us know what the audio is like, because I am kind of messing around with different software. I'm trying to get the audio better for people because there is still people saying, you know, the audio isn't great, and I know it's not great, so I am trying. So let us know if you don't like the audio. Don't just say I don't like it. Give us some constructive criticism. Let us know what I can do. Be much appreciated. So also with this new format, I just thought I'd try something new as well with the general format of the podcast, rather than talk about a subject, which I'm still going to do in the future, but this particular one I'm just going to do general chit chat, kind of what I've been up to. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail and just other things in general. Same again, let us know what you think. Let us know if you want us to keep going down this route, or whether you'd like us to continue how I was going. Okay, so what impressed me? Well, I actually come across a video by Sawyer Made. This was actually a reel on Instagram, and he's just built a Windsor style settee, and he's putting the thing together, and this is a sped up video, and it's it's really quite good. Anyone that's built a chair will know it can be pretty hard, and it can be really frustrating to actually get the spindles into the holes. You know, when you're putting the backrest on or the armrest, it can be really frustrating. So you can imagine a settee's like, you know, there's like maybe 2 dozen, more than 2 dozen. So it's really impressive. There's like him and 2 other guys doing it. So I actually laughed when I watched the video, because I know how hard it can be and how frustrating it can be. But even with the video sped up, it looked like they done it in good time, and they looked like they done it with very few hiccups. I would have actually liked to have seen it in real time. It would have been something to watch, maybe gain some knowledge. So what have I been up to? I have just finished a shelf off the other day, yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yes, I finished a shelf off yesterday. It went together pretty well. There was a few hiccups here and there. It's the first time I've cut one of these joints. So these joints, or the joint roller I used, was a mitered bridle joint. So this was actually pretty cool. It did pose a couple of problems for us. One of the problems that it caused, or rather that I ran into, was because it's a miter, because it's a 45 degrees. When I was trying to sew the shoulder line, and I did actually sew the shoulder line on one of the sections, but when I was doing it, I think it's with it being on the 45 degree angle, the saw was repeatedly wanting to jump out. I tried a new crosscut, the cozy, I think, am I saying that right? The cozy, the Koza, I don't know. I tried that saw, I tried me Ryobi saw, I also tried me little flush saw, and all of them just wanted to come out of the knife valley. So what I ended up doing, and I actually stated this on the video, if you want to watch the video, the full length of the video, obviously if you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or whatever, there will be links in the description. Go and check it out, leave a comment, let us know what you think of it. So what I ended up doing was I pretty much just took it down with my marking knife and my chisel on the shoulder, and I just took it down incrementally with my chisel to create more and more of a valley. That seemed to be the best way for me personally. I was I was really struggling, and it was starting to frustrate us. So what else I've done as well, I did actually damage some of the shoulder line. It was very minimal. To be honest, I was pretty lucky. If I had continued, I probably would have damaged it more, and I may have had to restart that section of the brackets. So that's kind of why I switched to the technique that I show on the video. So I did actually get a question on YouTube regarding the joint itself, the mitered bridle joints. The question was from Phantom Shark. He's a fellow woodworker. Check him out. He's got his own YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram. Go check him out if you haven't checked him out. So his question was, wouldn't putting a dowel through the cheeks of the joints actually make the joint stronger? So I didn't actually do that in the video, but to answer the question, yes, it would make the joints stronger. But the reason I didn't, and I did explain this in a comment on YouTube to Phantom Shark, I started making a table some time ago. This was a custom build for someone, and I had a design. I started building the table, and like, I wasn't happy with how the frame was feeling. It felt a little bit flimsy, so I wasn't happy. I wasn't comfortable sending this out to a customer, so I totally abandoned the builds and I started from scratch another design. So what I had done, and actually had bridle joints with the two sections of legs. So I had two sections of legs running down, and I had a rail running across the top. So there was quite a lot of it that I could salvage. So what I thought to myself, obviously I'll salvage as much as I possibly can. So the two joints, the two bridle joints, I'll just break these apart, and these were only glued. They weren't doweled or anything like that, pegged, nothing like that. So I actually tried to like physically break these, and for the life of us, I could not break them at all with my strength. I tried to break them like with my muscles, obviously with my strength. That didn't work. I was literally like resting on it and, like, you know, bouncing and trying to break it that way. I had it against the wall. I was stamping on it. The joint would not break. I tried absolutely all sorts. So in the end, what I ended up doing, obviously had the two legs running down in the rail across. I cut it at the rail, and I cut the leg. So I had this like joint, and that actually went in the fire pile. So knowing that, I honestly didn't see the need to put a pin or a dowel, if you like, into that joint. And I strongly believe that that joint will last a lot longer. Basically, that joint that joint will be there long after the bracket itself has actually pulled itself out of the wall with the weights. I think the wall plug and the screw section will give away before the joint gives away, long before the joint gives away. So with that, I've got no worries at all. Also, I did actually make my own finish. I have mentioned this a couple of times on my Instagram. So if you can see the two different colours, so this one was the first one I made, and this was a blend of beeswax, mineral oil and coconut oil. and it smells absolutely gorgeous. The smell's really nice. I wish you could smell this. Anyone that's made something like this will probably know what I'm talking about. It's really nice. Kind of the consistency here in the UK anyway, it's kind of a bit like Vaseline, I would say, maybe. Obviously, if you made something like this and you were in a hotter climate, maybe like somewhere like hot, like in America somewhere, you know, this has been more kind of like liquid. So when I originally done this was I put one bar of beeswax in. I put 3 parts coconut oil in, and then I put 4 parts of mineral oil in. So I actually applied this to a table, me living room table, coffee table. I wasn't really happy with it, the way it come out. So I thought to myself I'd add a bit more wax to it. So I remelted this back down. I put it in a pan of water, I melted back down, and I added another half a bar of beeswax into this. I put it onto the table. The next day it absolutely come up beautiful. I was really happy with the look. So it was kind of in between matte and satin. That's what I was looking for. That's what I wanted, and that's what I got. And the way the light hits it in my sitting room, it's absolutely beautiful. But it's not very hard wearing at all. I had a bottle of ginger beer, small glass bottle of ginger beer. It had been in the fridge, so it had a little bit of condensation. I put it on the table, water come off. It went on the table, I wiped it off the table, and I actually took some of the finish off. I absolutely could not believe it. I was really annoyed, to say the least, because obviously I went to all the trouble. I actually took all the old finish off the table. It did, in all fairness, it didn't take us too long to do, but you know, it's still a fact that I'd done it. So I was really annoyed with that, especially the way the finish turned out. I just really liked the look of it. So what I decided to do after that was to actually add some linseed oil into the mix, and that's where this come from. So this was a mixture of beeswax, linseed oil and mineral oil. So this was a 1 part beeswax, 2 part linseed oil, 2 part coconut oil, and 2 parts mineral oil. So you can see it's a lovely yellow colour. This one looks almost edible. Looks a bit kind of like marmalade. I don't know if you can see very well on the camera, but this kind of reminds us of marmalade, and this is maybe a little bit thicker. It actually comes out the consistency of marmalade. Marmalade that's been in the fridge. That's kind of what it reminds us of. So I actually put this on the table, and it's still not great. I wasn't overly happy with it, but I don't know if that's because I've already put this finish on the table and it's hindering the linseed oil getting in, or maybe I need to reassess the mixture. Maybe add more beeswax, add more linseed oil. I am thinking about taking away the mineral oil altogether and substituting the mineral oil for more linseed oil, because the linseed oil will give you a bit more of a filmy finish, a bit more kind of varnishy, I believe. If anyone could point us in the right direction, anyone's got a good recipe, I'd really appreciate it. I have actually enjoyed messing around with it, because this is something I've never ever done. And anyone that listened to the last podcast will know why I've done this. This was to do with the way Daniel was getting threats. Wardy's basically, the owner of Wardy's was being a bit of a jerk, from what I can gather. So I actually pulled away from getting that, and this happened. So what I went out and bought, or rather I went on to Amazon. I bought this off Amazon. So this was mineral oil. This is obviously food safe. And I bought these bars of beeswax. I think there was maybe 10 or 12 of them, I think. So yeah, they were pretty cheap. I think they were about £12. I think this was maybe about £9. And the cheapest was this raw linseed oil. I actually got this from a local shop in South Shields. This was about £4. And the coconut oil I already had in me cupboard. So coconut oils, it's really cheap these days. It used to be quite expensive going back maybe 5 years ago when I first started eating it. But it's pretty cheap now. I think one of the things that bothered us about this finish was the fact that it kind of gets pointed towards like using it for chopping boards and things like that, where it needs to be food safe. So I totally get that. Obviously, you know, you're using mineral oil, it's food safe, that's food grade. Beeswax is fine, and obviously coconut oil. But my problem was when you're putting this on the chopping board, and when the customer comes to wash it, does he not wash it off? He or she, do they not wash the finish off? I don't actually make and sell chopping boards, but that would be a concern for me. I would be worried about that, because that's the last thing you want. You don't kind of want a customer getting back to you and saying, well, you know, I just give this a wash down. So maybe I'm doing something very wrong with this. Same again, if anyone, you know, maybe point out what I'm doing wrong, I'll be really appreciative of that. Like I say, I've got no experience whatsoever in making finishes, but it is something I want to pursue. It is something I want to do. You know, there's various reasons why I want to do it. Obviously, I want things that are going to be safe. You know, I'm not really a fan of harsh chemicals, although I have used them for most of my woodworking career. But I am trying to move over to natural finishes. So, you know, if anyone, as I said, if anyone can hire a recipe my way, I'd be much appreciated. I actually got a new saw as well. These saws I'm not really a fan of, more because of the handle. And obviously they've got the spline, so they do limit you to what you can do, or the depth, depending on how you use it and stuff. Obviously, if you compare it to a Ryobi, obviously, you know, I can get all the way in an angle like this into a piece of wood, where this, obviously, I've got the spline, it's in the way, sort of thing. However, I found this really good for, obviously, cross-cutting. It is a cross-cutting saw. It's a Dakuzi, something like that. But it's pretty much for cross-cutting. I think it's kind of the eastern answer to a carcass saw. Or it can be compared to a carcass saw for doing, I think it's like in the description, I'll put it on the screen here. On the description, it kind of comes up, it's like used for housing, to cut housing joints, to cut material to final lengths and things like that. It does actually give quite a nice finish when you've cut something to length. It seems to cut it quite quickly as well. I don't know if that's because it's new. Obviously I'm aware it's new, but it did seem to cut really quick. Obviously I don't know it's new, but even despite that fact, it did seem that it cut like a lot quicker. Even when I was cutting on a diagonal like 45 degrees, it cut really quickly. Unfortunately for me, I can feel it here. I've actually bent one of the teeth out of the place. I don't know how I managed that, like, but yeah, I'll have to fix that. So these have actually got like new handles on them, because they normally come with this style of handle. This style of handle, I kind of like it because it's a bit more natural, but it can be slippy. It especially if the weather's really hot. I can actually feel this now because it's been really hot in the UK lately. So this has actually shrunk a little bit in the cord. I forget the name of this cord. It's actually come a little bit loose. It isn't going to go anywhere, but I can actually feel it. So I thought I damaged that one there. so this handle is it's TPE. I can't quite remember what it stands for. I'm going to put a description up of it on the screen. So this is supposed to be eco-friendly. It's supposed to give you a bit better of a grip. It kind of, yeah, I would say it does. I'd be a liar if I said it didn't. It's just, to me it looks a little bit tacky. But that's just my preference. Anyone who follows us or listens to me podcast knows I'm not like a real big fan of like plasticky stuff, but sometimes you can't get away from it. But yeah, it is a decent saw. I don't know if I would buy this again, and I don't know what I would pay full price for it. I actually won this in an auction. This was brand new. I actually won it in an auction on eBay. This was from Workshop Heaven, and I paid like £20 for it. I think the retailer about I think it's about £41, £42, something like that. But I don't think I'd pay like full price for it. You know, this is a Gyogo. Yeah, Gyogo. I think that's how you pronounce it. These are the saws I do recommend. I have tried numerous saws, but their blades, they're the best I've come across to date. They last for a very long time, so I've got no quarrel with this blade in general. It was kind of just maybe more the spline. It's probably the fact that I'm more used to using my Ryobi, because anyone that follows us knows I've never got this out in my hands. I absolutely love these saws. They last a very long time, and these are a lot better than the competition, in my opinion. You know, for longevity and in the teeth bending. I have actually damaged one of the teeth on here, like I said before, but there was one particular, so it is sitting over there. I'm not going to go and get it, but it is sitting there. I'm not going to name it as well, because I'm not here to dig companies, but I was using it and the teeth were bending. It's, you know, I think it was about £20 I paid for it, so it wasn't expensive, but I kind of didn't like, you know, I wasn't expecting the teeth to be bending when I was using it. You know, it's kind of not on in my eyes. The reason I've damaged this probably is because I've been putting it on my bench and there's a lot of metal things on my bench, so that's probably why I've damaged it. So it's my own fault in this case. But yeah, I would recommend this. It's, you know, it is a decent saw. As I said, it did seem to cut things really quickly. So if you're looking at something for cross cutting, you know, maybe, you know, if you make a lot of I don't know, maybe doors, you know, cork. Maybe if you're cutting things, you know, a lot of things in this like width, I think would be really good. Maybe for, you know, cutting the shoulders on tenants and things like that, I think it would shine there and it would do it nice and quickly, nice and neat. Obviously when I was cutting the edges of these, they were nice and neat. On some of the cuts I didn't even use a plane to clean it up. That's how clean the cut was. So, you know, it's always an added bonus when you don't have to faff around and set things up to plain end grain. I'll literally give it a quick sand and it was bang on, so I kind of fault it. Okay, so to finish up with, I thought I'd kind of mention this, and this was an oak table that I got given by my neighbour, kind of that way. So I've been debating on what to build with it, and I think most likely I am going to be building some campaign chest of drawers. For anyone that doesn't know, these were used in the campaign times, and basically they would have drawers stacked on top of drawers, and you could like quite easily take them off, you know, put them into a back of a horse-drawn carriage, you know, and move on to the next destination. So I'm kind of hoping that I can pretty much half this, and this is going to act as the outside, the basic box of it. This will be dovetailed. I am going to have to add some to it, but I should, as I said, I should be able to get the basic box off one. But I think the good thing about these is that you can actually build it, and then at a later date you can build another one to sit on top of it. So you're not having to build 4 lots of drawers. You can just build the box, the carcass, and then build like 2 drawers. You know, so there's numerous reasons why you might want to do this. You might be short on time. You might not have the money to go out, you know, and buy the timber to do a full build like that. So I think that's probably the route I'm going to go. It has got a nasty split. I don't know if you can see the split here. It is a bit more predominant down the side. So you can actually see the split, and it is actually pretty cupped. So I am actually going to sew it directly in half. I'm going to try and glue this back together. I should be able to do it. It does actually look a lot like it looks a lot worse for wear than it actually is. This is just the finish. The finish is like half on, half off. This was left in the garden for quite some time, in my next door's garden, before he decided to give it to me. He was kind of going to do something with it, but he's not really much of a DIYer, so he kind of gave it to me. I would have all I given it to us before the rain and the sun done its work, but I think I should be able to still salvage it. So I'm probably most likely going to do a build video for it, so it is something to watch out for, if you are interested, of course. So I'm going to call it a day. As I said, I'd really appreciate some feedback on this format. If you're liking to see us in here in my dingy little shed, by all means leave a comment, let us know what you think. And if you're listening on Spotify, let us know what the audio sounds like. I would really appreciate it. And until the next time, I shall see you guys later and speak to you later.